In the far reaches of the galaxy, the United Celestial Assembly, UCA, had long charted planets classified as deathworlds. These were planets so hostile that life should be impossible, but for reasons beyond their understanding, certain species thrived. Among the most infamous of these planets was Terra, known to its inhabitants as Earth. Its violent climate, dangerous fauna, and resilient human species were considered strange anomalies. Yet the UCA, united by curiosity and exploration, mostly avoided it. However, the Zelurans, a highly advanced and methodical race within the UCA, were not so easily deterred. They had detected a powerful energy source emanating from Terra's northern hemisphere, one that intrigued their top scientists. Driven by their thirst for discovery, they disregarded the UCA's cautionary protocols, believing they could outsmart any threat posed by a single planet. The exploratory team, led by Captain Relentless, a Zeluran commander known for his cold efficiency, landed discreetly on Earth. They were fascinated by the desolate surroundings of the forested mountain region known as Sector Alpha. The location was remote, quiet, and seemed abandoned, perfect for a quick retrieval mission. The energy source they tracked led them to an odd object buried in the ruins of a small human settlement, a metal cube no bigger than a fist, pulsating faintly with a strange energy signature. The cube was ancient, its surface engraved with symbols no one on the team could decipher. Yet, their scanners picked up intense energy readings within. Excited by their find, they immediately transported it to their ship, ignoring the faint alarm that rippled through the atmosphere the moment they removed the object from its resting place. To them, it was just another artifact, a puzzle to be solved in their labs far from this primitive planet. Unbeknownst to the UCA team, they had triggered something far greater than a security system. The cube they had taken belonged to Blackwood, a human soldier and survivalist who had fought in wars across the galaxy before retiring to his home planet. Passed down through generations, the cube was more than just a relic, it was a beacon tied to an ancient human defense system. And now, it was gone. Miles away, as Ethan sat quietly in his cabin, the cube's signal reached him. A piercing alarm sounded from his wrist device, alerting him to the theft. His pulse quickened, and without a word, he rose from his chair, his face dark with cold fury. Someone had taken what was his. The UCA had underestimated the humans, one Deathworlder in particular. And they would soon learn why no one in the galaxy ever dared to take what belonged to a Deathworlder. With determination set in his eyes, Blackwood prepared for pursuit. Blackwood wasted no time. The moment the cube's signal reached him, he activated his old military contacts and tracked the UCA ship that had stolen it. Despite his retirement, Ethan's reputation still carried weight, and within hours, he had the data he needed. The ship had docked at a UCA research outpost on the moon of Perilous 3. Ethan wasn't a man given to hesitation. Years of surviving Earth's harsh environments, combined with his experience as a soldier in interplanetary conflicts, had made him relentless. He knew that the UCA had powerful technology, far more advanced than anything Earth could produce, but that didn't concern him. His instincts, honed in the most dangerous places the galaxy had to offer, told him that the aliens didn't understand what they had taken. That ignorance was their weakness, and he would exploit it. Boarding his personal ship, a small but fast stealth vessel, Ethan launched into space. As he sped toward Perilous 3, his mind raced through potential scenarios. He didn't care about the politics of the UCA, nor their reasons for taking the cube. All that mattered was getting it back. The cube had been entrusted to him, and it was his responsibility to protect it. He wasn't about to let it fall into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, at the UCA outpost, Commander Relentless was growing increasingly uneasy. His scientists were working frantically to unlock the secrets of the cube, but every attempt to analyze it had failed. The cube defied their scanners, short-circuited their machines, and even caused a minor power failure in the lab. Worse still, there had been reports of an unknown ship approaching the moon. "Commander, we've detected a Terran vessel," one of the communications officers reported. "It's moving fast and heading directly for us." "A Terran?" Relith sneered. "A human? What could they possibly hope to accomplish against us?" But his confidence was hollow. He had heard stories about Deathworlders, humans in particular. They were a resilient, unpredictable species, known for their ability to survive in environments that would kill most others. They had a reputation for being dangerously resourceful, and Relith had a sinking feeling that this particular human wasn't coming to negotiate. He ordered an intercept team to disable the approaching ship. The Zeluran fleet was more than capable of handling a single human. Or so he thought. As Ethan approached the outpost, the UCA's interceptors moved to engage. But they hadn't anticipated the full extent of his tactical prowess. Years of combat had taught Ethan how to think outside the rigid strategies of most spacefaring species. Using a combination of evasive maneuvers and well-placed EMP bursts, he disabled the UCA ships without firing a single lethal shot. With the interceptors out of commission, Ethan's ship docked with the outpost. He moved swiftly through the corridors, his every step fueled by cold determination. Security forces attempted to stop him, but they were no match for a trained Deathworlder. Ethan incapacitated them with brutal efficiency, never slowing down. He was getting closer to the lab, closer to reclaiming what was his. The UCA had made a grave mistake, and now they were about to learn why you never take from a Deathworlder. Ethan Blackwood stormed into the UCA outpost's research lab with deadly precision. The moment he entered, the room fell silent, save for the hum of the alien machines that were futilely trying to unlock the secrets of the cube. The scientists, a mix of Zelurans and other alien species, froze in shock at the sight of the human intruder. Their expressions were a mixture of fear and disbelief. How had a single human managed to breach their security so effortlessly? Ethan's eyes locked onto the cube, now strapped to a large, glowing apparatus that was attempting to extract data from it. He could feel the power radiating from it, as though it was reacting to his presence. He took a step forward, and the lead scientist, Dr. Thrynus, a proud Zeluran, blocked his path. "You can't just walk in here and take it." Thrynus barked, his voice betraying his panic. "This artifact is of immense scientific value. The UCA has every right to study it." Ethan's expression remained cold and unflinching. "You took something that doesn't belong to you," he said evenly, his voice low but dangerous. "I'm here to take it back." Dr. Thrynus' arrogance flared. "You don't understand. This cube contains knowledge beyond your comprehension. You humans think you can just claim everything." Before Thrynus could finish, Ethan moved with lightning speed. In one swift motion, he disarmed the two security officers stationed near the door, disabling them with precision strikes that left them groaning on the floor. The scientists gasped in horror, stepping back instinctively as Ethan approached the cube. "I warned you," Ethan said, his voice ice-cold. "This isn't a matter of science. You're tampering with something you can't control." He reached out and grabbed the cube. The moment his hand made contact, the entire room flickered with energy. The alien machines connected to the cube sparked violently, overloaded by the sudden surge of power. Warning alarms blared, and the lights began to flicker, plunging the lab into chaos. "What's happening?" one of the scientists shouted, scrambling to shut down the equipment. Dr. Thrynus backed away, his earlier confidence now replaced by raw fear. "The cube, it's destabilizing our systems. We have to evacuate." But Ethan remained calm, his focus entirely on the cube. He could feel it responding to him, the engravings on its surface glowing faintly. It had never reacted this way before, but now, in the presence of its rightful owner, it was awakening. He understood the gravity of what the aliens had done. By attempting to unlock its secrets, they had triggered a chain reaction. "You've made a mistake," Ethan said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "This isn't just an artifact. It's a key. Dr. Thrynus stared at him in disbelief. A key to what? To something no one should ever touch. Without another word, Ethan pocketed the cube and turned to leave. Behind him, the lab was in disarray, equipment sparking and short-circuiting. As the cube's energy continued to destabilize the outpost systems, the alarms grew louder. Ethan didn't look back. He knew the outpost was doomed. As he made his way to his ship, the scientists scrambled to escape, but it was already too late. The cube had unleashed forces beyond their control, and the outpost's infrastructure was rapidly collapsing. By the time Ethan's ship left the moon's atmosphere, the UCA outpost had been reduced to rubble, a stark reminder of the consequences of crossing a Deathworlder. Word of the destruction of the UCA outpost on Aeolox 3 spread quickly through the United Celestial Assembly. Reports were conflicting and chaotic, but the central fact remained the same: a lone human had infiltrated one of the most secure research facilities, reclaimed an artifact, and left the station in ruins. The UCA Council members, once confident in their superiority, now faced an unsettling reality: they had underestimated the humans. In a grand, towering chamber on the UCA's capital planet, an emergency council meeting was held. Representatives from dozens of alien species gathered, their holographic forms flickering across the room. At the head of the assembly stood High Counselor Zrak, an ancient and wise leader of the Ulgoth species, known for their calm demeanor and logical approach. Commander Relith, Zrak's voice boomed, addressing the disgraced Zeluran who had led the ill-fated mission. Explain how one human, a single Deathworlder, was able to cripple an entire outpost and destroy one of our most valuable research facilities. Relith, no longer wearing the commanding uniform he once held so proudly, stood stiffly before the council. His normally confident posture was gone, replaced by the weight of his failure. It wasn't just any human, Relith muttered, his voice low. He was a Deathworlder soldier, one of their elites. We underestimated their capabilities. Underestimated, a Zeluran scientist interrupted. You ignored every warning the UCA has ever given about Deathworlders. You took an artifact from Terra without understanding its significance, and now our entire outpost is gone. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council. The footage from Aeolox 3 had shown the destruction in full detail: security personnel incapacitated, systems overloaded, and the station collapsing in on itself. The human had moved with the precision of a predator, and no one had been able to stop him. High Counselor Zrak raised a hand, silencing the chamber. Enough, he said firmly. The past cannot be undone. What matters now is how we proceed. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the room, showing the last message transmitted from the outpost. It was from Ethan Blackwood himself, recorded just moments before he left the station. His voice, calm and unwavering, echoed through the chamber. Take what you want from Terra, and Terra will take back. Deathworlders don't forget. The silence that followed was deafening. No one in the room dared to speak, the weight of Ethan's words settling heavily on the gathered council. Deathworlders were not just a species to be trifled with, they were something far more dangerous, something that no advanced technology could control or predict. What do we do now? One of the younger counselors asked, her voice trembling. We do nothing, Zrak answered solemnly. We respect their boundaries. Terra has been classified as a Deathworld for a reason. We ignored that warning, and we paid the price. But the cube, another representative began. Zrak cut him off. The cube belongs to the humans. It was never ours to take. We have violated a sacred trust, and now we must ensure this never happens again. The council agreed, though some reluctantly. The UCA had expanded across the stars, subjugating and integrating countless worlds, but they had never encountered a species quite like the humans. Their resilience, their tenacity, and their unpredictability set them apart. The lesson was clear: you don't take from a Deathworlder. As the meeting came to a close, the UCA Council issued a formal decree, Terra would be off-limits to all exploration and research indefinitely. No alien ship would approach the planet without permission. The cube, and whatever secrets it held, would remain in the hands of those who had earned the right to keep it. Ethan Blackwood's message had been received loud and clear.